Let's be honest, at some point, you've probably picked up a broomstick, a flashlight, or a glowing pool noodle and pretended it was a lightsaber. Don't worry, we all have. And if you haven't, you're lying to yourself. But that brings us to a very important question. Could you actually build a working lightsaber at home? Short answer: no. Longer answer: no, but also, kinda, if you're willing to stretch the definition of lightsaber, risk your eyebrows, and maybe violate a few safety codes. Let's break this down. First, what even is a lightsaber? In the Star Wars universe, it's a plasma blade, about a meter long, contained within a magnetic field, hot enough to cut through basically anything except plot armor. It's powered by a kyber crystal, those mysterious space rocks that conveniently work as lightsaber batteries and mystical personality quizzes. So if we wanted to replicate this in real life, what do we need? A blade of superheated plasma, contained in a limited length, and a power source small enough to fit in your hand but strong enough to melt through steel. Easy, right? Let's talk plasma. Plasma is the fourth state of matter, besides solid, liquid, and gas. It's what you get when you heat a gas until its atoms start falling apart and you end up with a soup of charged particles. You see it in things like lightning, neon signs, and the sun. Which is to say, plasma is real. Controlling it, however, is a whole other galactic level headache. Here's the kicker: plasma doesn't like being told what to do. It needs something to contain it, like magnetic fields or vacuum chambers. You can't just have a glowing blade of it hanging in midair. So unless you've got a portable magnetic bottle the size of a flashlight and the strength of a nuclear fusion reactor, you're out of luck. But wait, you might say, I've seen YouTubers build lightsabers. And yes, some brilliant, slightly unhinged engineers have made plasma-based proto-sabers. These things often use fuel tanks strapped to your back and reach temperatures over 3000 degrees Celsius. They look amazing. They sound amazing. And they are absolutely not safe for swinging around the living room while your cat watches in horror. They don't really stop like a blade either, they just sort of taper off. Because plasma doesn't conveniently end at 3 feet. The blade has no solid edge. So no fencing duels, unless your goal is mutual incineration. Now let's talk power. A real lightsaber would require an absurd amount of energy. Just heating something to plasma levels takes a ton of juice, and you need a dense, portable power source, like a mini nuclear reactor. Lithium-ion batteries? Cute. Kyber crystals? Sorry, still fictional. So unless Tony Stark loans you his arc reactor, we're stuck. But what about lasers? Can't we just use a superpowered laser beam? Well, yes, but also no. Lasers don't stop midair. They just keep going until they hit something. That's why laser pointers go on forever, or at least until they hit a wall, your eye, or the neighbor's cat. Making a laser blade would require somehow forcing light to have a fixed length and interact like a solid object. Physics isn't having it. Let's debunk a few more myths while we're here. Myth 1, you can deflect bullets with a lightsaber. Absolutely not. By the time you see a bullet, it's already halfway through your torso. Jedi reflexes aren't real, and lightsabers don't have magical auto-targeting. Myth 2, you can block another lightsaber with yours because, plasma on plasma? Again, real plasma wouldn't act like solid objects. They'd pass right through each other. No satisfying clash sounds. Just a disappointing sizzle and a lot of burning furniture. Myth 3, you could carry one on your belt like a flashlight. No. Not unless you enjoy carrying around something that can accidentally vaporize your leg because you bumped the button. Safety first, kids. Now, before you give up all hope, let's look on the bright side. There are real-world technologies inspired by the idea of lightsabers. Plasma cutters use ionized gas to slice through metal. They're not elegant weapons from a more civilized age, but they get the job done. And high-powered lasers are already used in scientific research and military applications. Just not in glowing sword form. So, could you make a working lightsaber at home? If by working, you mean looks awesome and lights up, sure. There are some incredible props and replicas out there with lights, sound effects, and even motion detection. If by working, you mean can cut through a car door and duel with Sith Lords, then no. Not unless you're a genius, a billionaire, and mildly okay with possibly exploding. But that's the magic of science fiction. It gives us something to dream about. Who knows? Maybe in 100 years, we'll solve the whole plasma containment thing, invent kyber crystals, and duel our robot overlords at sunset. Until then, maybe stick to the pool noodles. Thanks for watching. And may your experiments stay far, far away from flammable objects.